Uduasha city, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow. 800 years ago, the gates of death were broken by the Emperor Immortal. The 5 key-bearers, however, had already unlocked them and walked right through. It is in Uduasha city they dwell. Now, the ghost field breathes next to our reality, lit by the eternal flame of the well of Udu. It is a second skin, a place where thought and will struggle against gravity and light. In other places, the dead congregate in the ghost field, but in Uduasha, the well city, the hell city, they fall straight into the flames. See its glittering districts: Kshitijpur, where the rich plot to buy the horizon; Bunda West, where the refugees of 2 different nations flock; and Pasarhandu, the vertical maze of market and murder. And here is Udepat, where the Ceaseless Temple resides. Its inhabitants, a family, a snake, and a god. The temple has stood since before the gods of this world were forgotten. Watch as it turns the wheels of revolution. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about people who take risks so they can survive against the odds.
Well, hi. Welcome back to Desperate Attune and our current campaign of Blades in the Dark, called A Candle Ablaze, set in the city of Uduasha. I'm Tree, or Soumithri. I'm your GM, and I will be running this game for you today.
My name is Emma. I am playing Joan, a retired ghost fighter, and I use she/her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Klow. In real life, my name is Zoheb, and I'm a he/him, and I'm playing Mira's Chokroborty, the crew's leech, who is an engineer turned cult leader.
I'm Prince, he/him. I play Vickers, a roofballer and Miras's wife.
I'm Soap. I play Abbas, the religious scholar, and pain in Miraz's side. And my pronouns are he and him.
Oh, I actually forgot my pronouns, which are all of them. I really don't care. Last we left off, we had seen an operation, or at least an attempt at an operation to meet the so-called monarch of the Scotland nation, who happens to be in Iruvian. Of course, one of the reasons that she is this monarch is that she is currently of the ironclad belief that she is the monarch of the entire world, and Scotland just happens to be part of it. The crew had been trying to get her to meet the 2 Scotland royals, their own company. As events transpired, though this meeting is about to occur and is being arranged, the royals have nevertheless returned to the temple for the time being, mostly because one of them has taken a very large liking to Joan. So I think that just as we kind of enter downtime, we'll talk a little bit about what that means mechanically for anyone who is new to Blades. Let's first, I think, I'm interested to see what the vibe in the family and in the crew is after we saw what we saw in the last scene, which was turning to the temple, having made these arrangements, and having, for some of you, had a very tricky time because you may have been ambushed in the middle of the market district by men absolutely able and willing to do great violence.
Well, the ambulance, but not for me.
Indeed, yes.
Well, Vickers has been tending to her husband's wound, and then they have retreated for some time for private conversation in their bedroom.
Yes,
That's
good.
not what you should do with someone who's been injured.
Uh-huh.
That's what Abbas says anyway.
Yes, probably. Don't worry, Vickers has the herbal remedies somewhere around here.
I think Abbas is going to be in this situation as well. It's like, Miraz, this ginger rub over here. Excellent. I once nearly cut my whole arm off. Put it on next day, good as new. Good as new, Miraz.
You what? You regrew your arm?
it might as well be true. I mean, this stuff is excellent. I don't know what you're putting on your arm, in when you go to Akaros, but this is the real stuff.
Let's pass it over here, and I guess I take the ginger root and I dab it against. What was it? I got shot near the head, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a bloodied forehead.
I just dab the ginger against my forehead, kind of rubbing it around, and I literally have no idea what this would feel like. Would this hurt?
I think it,
feel like
it,
it must, because
It
anything
must.
near your forehead is gonna hurt. It's gonna sting.
yeah. Like even a proper antiseptic would sting, and this has not been like you have no idea what the potency of this thing is, right? It's probably gonna feel like your head's on fire.
Yeah. And then I can drop it. That's probably enough folk medicine for now. Thank you, Uncle.
Yes, don't worry. I'll keep it in your room, so whenever you need it, you can use it.
I'll take it in. Vickers, did you? We had something to talk about in the room. Yes.
Oh, yes. Quite.
Yes.
Don't worry,
yes.
I shall look after him very well, Uncle. Vickers
Mhm.
says, and then will pull her husband into her room for a private conversation with her husband. Don't worry, I've soundproofed the room very well. I hung up curtains.
Excellent. It is a stone temple, though, so that's important to
Yes.
do. Yes, very good. I think afterwards, though, I think as Mira is kind of lying there and kind of like staring up at the ceiling, fairly satisfied, he kind of says, turns to Vickers, assuming she's still there, versus like doing something else. I don't know what she does. He turns to Vickers, says, that's probably the first time since school that I've been in an actual scrape.
Oh, yes, you do have to look after yourself. After all, none of us are getting any younger. Did you put the root on your forehead, as Uncle Abbas said? Or shall I help you with it?
Oh no, here, see, it's right here. And I take the ginger again and I like put it on my forehead, but there's like a small piece of cotton at the end. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm not actually interacting with the ginger, but I'm like showing you that I am.
Yes, the benefits of being a tinker-focused character here. Yeah.
And then I just say, but I mean, it was surprising, but I actually sort of liked it. Well, I mean, okay, no, I shouldn't say that. I suppose the poor
Well?
fellow. Well, he was going to do worse to me, of course, but that poor fellow that I hit with steam. Oh my, oh. But the exhilaration of a fight.
I perfectly understand the adrenaline and the excitement, but I will say it was awfully rude of Mr. Morosim to betray us like this. I don't think we can let this go unchallenged, can we?
Well, I hope he learned his lesson. And I told him I'm not paying him back. And then he kind of stops and says, "Actually, you know what? I should probably just give him the money back. I don't want it. I'm sure he's going to make. He and his type, they're going to make a lot of trouble over the money. I shouldn't keep that money, right? I should give it back."
It's probably for the best, yes. I feel like after such terrible behavior, we ought to break off contact with this. Well, I hesitate to even call him a gentleman, to be honest. I say give him the money back and let him know that he shan't be welcome to any of our soirees anymore.
Soirees? Are you planning a soiree?
Well, there was the small matter of the charity function that I had in mind, but we can discuss the specifics of it later.
Charity function?
Yes, all these repairs to the temple, they're not free, you know?
Yeah, I mean, charity function. You know what? Maybe that's a good idea. Yes, charity function. And Miras isn't really listening. He's thinking about. He's having a daydream about beating Morosim up.
Yes.
It's like, who is this man now? Who am I? This isn't me.
Yeah. And Vickers puts her hand on his shoulder and says, "Anyway, I do believe we should break off contact with him," she says. And then she looks into your eyes with a look of like, "Yes, I understand exactly what you mean. And maybe we will break off contact and like a leg. This is fine."
Excellent.
And I guess that's the scene.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, as like the two of you go upstairs, probably like from the kitchen where the where Ginger is most likely to be kept. I think Joan remains in the doorframe, having kind of like hung back, and stays behind to talk with her uncle.
Yeah, yes, John. Anything? What do you want to talk about?
So I understand you used to be a firebrand.
Those days are long ago, John. I mean, I'm an old man now. I don't want to get into that kind of thing anymore. My back can't handle it.
She gives this like small smile.
Yeah, and yeah, I think you can probably tell that when like Abbas is just saying this, just like it's just something to say, right? He doesn't really mean any of it. Like I think like Miraz, he's also had a little bit of an awakening because the little skirmish with the where he commanded the roofball team, like that fired something up in him as well, and that combined with what our serpent god was telling him last session about needing to get out of his rut.
Are they also bygone days as far as His Majesty is concerned? I didn't get that impression.
Yes, him. I'm thinking about it. I don't know, John. It's been. Maybe you can understand. Miraz, he's a good boy. He's a good boy, but he doesn't have it in him to really understand he's been away from Iruvia for too long. He doesn't understand, but
He doesn't understand
what it was like growing up, seeing Akaros everywhere I go. Akaros. One day I have my favorite coffee shop. Next day it's Akaros. He loves that kind of thing, so he'll never understand. But maybe you can. I don't know. Once I was so angry, but I don't know but that anger, I've seen it do terrible things, justified or not, and I don't know if I can bring myself to do that again.
It felt today when we decided on action after our dressing down at the pits. It felt like how I imagined temples to be, and their custodians actually guided by a god, like in the books.
Our legends say our temple once did great things, and to some extent, I know I should do more. I know I should. All of this temple is not just about you wake up in the morning, you do your service, and then you go to sleep. I know this temple is for the people, and when the people are hurting, I know that I should do something, but I don't know. I fear myself, Joan. I fear what some of my friends. When we used to resist, some of my friends, I've seen them give in to their inner darkness, and I cannot see myself in that way. I just can't.
You know what they say? No one's ever won a war.
Well, I guess I don't know. Maybe I have to find some other way to fight.
I hope so. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I should see how our guests are doing.
Yes, absolutely. All right. I think what I would like Abbas to do at some point is I said his friend was the doctor in the university, right? So in my mind, that's someone he's known from his revolutionary days, and maybe he'll go talk to this person at some point, try to air out his thoughts, and we should do something. Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the moment that camera cuts to the front of the temple, where a stern woman, her hair in a braid, very like carefully and neatly combed and oiled, walks in. She has a pair of glasses. She's wearing like a black sari, and everyone in the temple knows that she is one of a pair. But her twin at the moment does not appear to be present. The reason that she is coming in right now is she has information. And it is not information that is going to be present for anybody to hear. I think she probably spots Zajidan, Miraz's father, kind of like sitting on the veranda, right? And she's gonna tell him if there is nobody else to tell. And what she's gonna tell him is that she's just found out from a contact of hers at the bureaucracy that someone's just bought up the rights to investigate the Ceaseless Temple. They're headed there. That's headed here right now.
Just for the audience, just to clarify, this is one of our adepts, right?
Yes, so you have a cohort who are a pair of twins, Padmapriya and Padmamukhi, and they are not very easy to differentiate for people who don't know them well. And to be honest, it sometimes seems like the only person who can do this is Zajidan. Right? Whichever one it is, they are both like incredibly sharp, incredibly aware of like all of the temple's various interests and the things that are of importance to it. And in fact, that is the big problem, because they know this very well, and that's really their first priority in all circumstances. So I'm curious to know who, if anyone, you think Zajidan is going to bring this to, because while obviously his son is the head priest, this kind of like bureaucracy and form filling is exactly the kind of thing that I think he would expect us to not be fluent in. And it is likely, I think.
I disagree. I disagree with that because I think I see Miraz as someone who's like super methodical, so I think he's actually quite good at bureaucracy and forms and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that between Abbas and Miraz, this is one place where Miraz I think is gonna be actually like the better person to go to, and like Abbas might take offense that Zajidan didn't come to him, but he knows like Abbas's stuff is like philosophy, like logic, math, right? That kind of thing.
But you only had oral exams too.
Yeah.
Padmapriya is telling Zajidan that there appears to be some kind of bureaucratic. It's not a mix-up. I think they are both very clear that this is hostile action. And she is speaking to him in low, hushed tones about, she's got a friend who's got a friend, and how it's definitely someone with criminal intent, but funding someone who has been a thorn in your side for a very long time. And this person is Begum Bashundhara, who is the head of the Udaipur Development and Restoration Commission, is on a crusade to redevelop and modernize the entire Udaipur region. And what she says is she will keep the historic importance, but surely all of this crumbling infrastructure, the terrible roads, the very shoddy nature of like walls and the signposts, all of this stuff, that definitely needs to be redone. And she's been clamoring to take over your temple in the name of the city and basically bulldoze it for a very long time. And Padmapriya has now understood that somehow she's laid her hands on some cash, has managed to pay off enough people. This is now not imminently happening, but certainly much closer than she's ever been.
And I guess Sajidan relays all this to me.
Yeah, I think Sajidan kind of like listens to her quite calmly. And then in the same kind of easy, stoic manner that he's taken every bit of news that he's ever received, probably in his life, just kind of nods and comes to find you, knocks on your door, right, where you are still in, private conversation, capital P, capital C, and says, Yes, because you still busy or might we have a word?
So Vickers is there too?
I think so.
Yep, alright. So yes, she will
Unless
snap
Miraz
to
is having
attention.
unless Miraz is having a private conversation with himself.
This is also fine.
So Vickers snaps to attention as her father-in-law approaches, and she once again, as she did last time, fusses over how to look proper. And there's a brief moment of panic as she like straightens her clothes and reaches for some makeup, and then decides not to do it, and then like clears her throat and goes, enter. Tries to look as presentable as she can, and then of course we'll remember that the old man is still ill and start rummaging through her medicine cabinet.
He sees you rummaging, and I think he's got a fun smile on his face before he's like, "Oh wait, I'm here for a specific reason." He says, "Yes, I was wondering whether I don't suppose you would have. So Padma Priya has just given me some concerning news. The Begum Bashundhara, or maybe you haven't really been bothered by the commission."
No, that's the Society for Advancing Iruvian Modernity, right? Or what? No, I
No.
got the name wrong. It's very long.
Yes.
What was it?
It was they put Development and Restoration Commission.
Okay, that sounds nice.
It's really not. It's a front for redeveloping.
Seen the sewers lately. Someone needs to get that sorted out.
Does sewers do need to be sorted out, but Begum Bashundhara does not really has no meaningful concern for sewers. She cares much more for the facade. The temple has been one of the bees in her bonnet. And like bees in her bonnet is like a very different phrase. A city in which is like home into death. Yeah, basically what happens, I think, is that he continues and he says, looks like she's got her hands on some cash, paid off some of the bureaucrats. They will come to do an inspection probably today. I suppose you know anyone who could help?
Did they buy the land? I don't. How does this work? Like, okay, so they're going to come and do an inspection of our temple, but and they aren't the government.
What will have happened is that they will have contracted Begum to, there will be something about hiring a local expert to evaluate the importance of the historic nature of this landmark and the manner in which it, prevents ease of access and convenience, this kind of prevarication. And essentially, she will have been appointed an agent of the government for these purposes, and the purposes, of course, being destroying the temple and building some kind of ghastly, what do they call them? Promenades.
Well, we certainly cannot have that, Vickers says, turning around, having finally found what she was looking for, and she will aggressively slam down a bottle of some concoction in front of Sajidan.
Mira's mouths, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. And then she stares and says, "Who is this appointed expert? I shall have a word with the fellow and make sure that no misunderstandings happen about this temple. It's been standing here for, well, I don't even know how long, but it seems a right pity to tear it down over some silly little development. Besides, the roof, I will have you know, is very important to the local youths as a sports field."
Sajidan has like a twinkle in his eye as he drinks the concoction, and he says, "I'm glad we have your support, but I'm afraid things like it's important to the youth of the region, and Oh, I don't know. We've been here since before the key bearers. Such things don't appear to matter. It is tiring.
Well, then we shall have to show them that it matters. Whether that's by community engagement or by money. Remember what I said about a charity function, Miraz? I do think we should let such a thing go about, and quickly.
Yes, that's a very good idea. I've been thinking, and the wheels actually have been turning in Miraz's head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isn't there some sort of like, what was it? Appreciating old Iruvia society or something? Right here in Udaipur, the people who just go around and stop any sort of development happening whatsoever.
Yeah, that's Abdul. That's the Udaipur Society for the Preservation of Landmarks and Heritage. I'm half convinced, by the way, that Bashundhara and Abdul are. I don't know. They hate each other so much. They must be secretly married or something, because they spend all of their time ruining the other's plans. Abdul Siddiqui.
All right, Abdul Siddiqui. Yes, I heard of. I think he once sent. Where is it? And he kind of like rummages around in his desk, and then he said, "Ah, yes." When he heard, look at this letter, and I kind of like hand it over to Sajjidan. It's a letter from Siddiqui where he was very vociferously trying to discourage me from putting in electric lighting in the temple and so on, and like and it's I kind of pointed like, look at him. He must have some spies amongst the workmen I've been here. He knows about the new toilet. Like, I mean, obviously I don't like this man, but it seems if there's someone who wants to raise the temple down and put up a promenade in its place or shopping center or whatever.
Can I just interject to say that your spy is actually Abbas, who knows this Abdul Bhai from before and complains to him about his like, oh, Abdul Bhai, you won't believe my nephew is putting up electric lights everywhere.
So you sit down on ground and then you go to toilet. That's how we've been doing it for toilet for decades. And like, why change it? Why do we need this big Marvel throne thing now with the flashing water?
I don't think Abbas is for like. I think he can appreciate good sewage.
Maybe I'm quoting from the letter.
Anyway,
yes, we'll see. Anyway, so there's that guy. A thorn in my side, but a bigger thorn in Bashundhara's side. We could probably put the two of them together. And meanwhile, I can't think of a better occasion on which to bring them head to head than this charity function that you're talking about, Vickers. Excellent idea. And why not? Why not? Why not? So this is, and now wheels are turning and you're getting excited a little bit. Okay, so we have the roof, very important to the local youths. Yes, we should demonstrate that. We should a charity roofball match. Yes.
Oh, and then I can take up the Northern Lights on their challenge too. That's wonderful. Very well timed.
And I'm looking at my father like, yeah, I see, Dad, I can do this. I know what I'm about.
I think Sajjidan says a charity roof ball game. That would be nice. Well, we do have the gargoyles coming in to meet me maybe tomorrow or the day after. Something about they would have got pushed out as well. That's why they asked for the meeting.
About that, Father. I mean, you should be resting. Why are all these people having meetings with you? And there's a little bit of like, I think it's so obviously Miraz is being genuine, like that should be resting, you shouldn't be doing all this. But it's not entirely absent of a little bit of, of like, hey, this is my job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think Sajjidan says, oh no, this isn't about, well, Vinay is an old friend of mine and he just wanted some advice about how to deal with someone muscling in on his stuff. So I hadn't connected the dots. I'm sorry, Miraz. I will tell him, I can't tell him that I'm not going to be in the meeting, but why don't you join us and I will make the introduction and then I will leave it in your hands. And I think he is genuinely like, it is your job. And he just hadn't realized that this was to do with the temple. He just thought this was like a, old friend number one asking old friend number two for advice.
Yeah, I mean, of course, your father, you can talk to your friends, of course. But yes, if it has something to do with the temple, which it seems that it does, I would. It's better if I'm there. Yes. Excellent. I also, and now Miraz is like, yes, I'm a man about town. I got appointments. I got people to meet. I should also be speaking to Mr. Morosim about that business. And then I kind of like give Vickers a look of like, don't mention the money.
Yes. Yes, we should have a word with Mr. Morosim. We wouldn't want him to cause any trouble.
Why would there be trouble?
Zajidan obviously doesn't know anything. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, no. He gave me a loan, some advance payment and so on, for various things, refurbishments and so on. I'm not mentioning the fact that it was mostly for my father's
Yeah, no, absolutely.
medical problems, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
For various things, but I don't know. I've been hearing some unsavory things about him. I don't want to get mixed up in any sort of thing, and it would be, I don't know, if this Bashundhara person is deputized by the law or something to kind of like chase us out if they find out that we're in cahoots with unsavory characters, which I'm sorry, father, I shouldn't have taken that loan, exposing us to risk and so on. But I'll give the money back. We'll sort it out. Yes.
Is there?
Yes, we shall give the money back and a little bit extra. Vickers says with a clear.
Yeah. Is there a childhood nickname that Zajidan had for you?
I think there should be.
Like a dark num?
I think it should be very embarrassing. It should be very embarrassing.
I mean, you're Miraz, right?
No, but it should have like no correspondence to my actual name and should just be very silly and infantilizing.
Yeah.
Maybe I just have this horrible idea of him just calling me cutie.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
God.
or snakelet.
Oh,
'Cause you're a little
snakelet.
snake.
Yeah, I think that's very cute. Yes, you are correct.
Yes.
What is snake in
Snakelet.
Bengali, by the way?
Yes. Sharp.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I think that's cooler than snakelet. So I think
Let's
we'll
keep-
stick with snake,
Mhm.
snakelet. I think he will say,
Yes.
"Oh, snakelet. What did I always tell you about
Oh dear.
taking and giving loans? Never be in debt and never be in credit." And from this Morosim character, wasn't he the one who got us the silk and then he got in trouble? Oh.
Yes. Sorry, father. I was in a bit of a bind.
What did you need the money for?
Yeah.
I mean, if you just told me, I've got some friends, we could have figured something out. Is this about the new roofball uniforms? I mean, you look fine, don't you? Like Vickers, you look incredible.
Oh, why, thank you. Vickers has been caught aback by her father-in-law's compliment.
Yes. I mean, we'll give the money back. We'll sort it out. I've already, had some harsh words with him. He let me down with something else again. You don't need to know about it. It's not a big deal. Yes, we'll sort it out.
I think saying to your father, you don't need to worry about it. It's not a big deal. It's not a risk-free action.
I mean, I'm happy to roll to convince him, but it's one of those things where I think I'd prefer to fail it,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we could roll for like how
I think it
much
just makes sense that he sees through you.
Yeah.
Personally.
No, I think.
Yeah, so it's not like I'm trying to succeed.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think
Out of character.
the reason that I flagged it is I think that he is, unless you try to succeed, you are going to fail here. So if you're happy, if you think that failing is interesting, then I think what will happen is that he will his eyebrows furrow, right? It's not an uncommon expression on his face. You've seen it many times before you left the university, and it is the look of like a mixture of concern and concern and no little disappointment, unfortunately. And he says, fine, you're an adult now and you don't need me poking about in your affairs. I just, I thought you would like to know about the Begum, and I've told you. So I think I will make myself some chai. And yeah, he's just gonna be like, yeah, fine, you do you. You want to lie to me, you can lie to me. I don't have a problem with that. And he's gonna walk away.
I'm also happy to roll fortune to see like what he's actually going to do about it afterwards,
Yeah.
like the severity.
Yeah, I think like we'll figure. Like, I want to cut away for a sec here, but I think we will. It's like I think the Zajidan scene is like done because he's gonna leave. But it is an interesting role to see like what he's gonna do about it.
I'll just roll fortune, and I think I'm pushing myself because I'm stressed out not in real life, but in
Very
character.
good.
So just rolling.
That's-
Sorry, there should have been a bonus dice.
Okay. So that's
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it can still be 3 if you're counting it that way.
I think okay. So let's clarify here that this is not how I ran my last campaign, but I think that
It's easier.
that was complicated as all get out and unnecessary. So let us say that if you roll too many dice, then we will just take the leftmost, and if you roll too few dice, you can always just roll extra. And in this case, you rolled too few because you should have had one. And the way the system works is if you have 0 dice, you roll 2 and take the lower, but you rolled 2 3s. So it would have been a 3 in any case.
That's fine.
Um,
And I love failing in this situation. It's great.
Yeah, who doesn't like to lie to one's father and be caught immediately? Yeah, I think so. Joan, you are tracked down not by Padma Priya, who is she's kind of like stern, but she's ultimately the nicer one of the two. She's the one who kind of has more concern for people's feelings. No, you are tracked down by Padma Mukhi, who is a bit more off-putting in some ways. She, much like her sister, is wearing a black sari, hair in a braid. I think today she has on a gold chain around her neck that her sister doesn't have on. And she has tracked you down in order to find out where His Majesty is, because she knows that for whatever reason, His Majesty has chosen you as his favorite. And if there is a quick way to get to him, it is to find you. Where is she finding you?
Probably coming out of the chambers of our guests.
Very good. And then I think that your guests will also hear her because she's not being particularly quiet about it. He says, Joan, I need you to take me to His Majesty immediately. There has been a development in, just one of these things that happens, and my sister's informing Sajidan, no problem, of course, but if you could just take me to the Eternal One. And I think that this is where we see that, at least for Padma Priya and Padma Mukhi, Sajidan is really still the person who's running the ship, and they are still his, loyal hands. Which is not to say that they wouldn't do what you told them to do, or that they don't think that you are part of the temple and the family, but that I think it is one of the reasons that they are not quite as reliable to you as they should be, because they sometimes think that their judgment is better than yours. So yeah, in this case...
Well, of course. Is he not in his regular place?
No, I did have a look, and he does not appear to be there. And we really don't have much time, and normally, doing the ritual, attempting to summon him, it doesn't always work, does it? Whereas, well, you have a talent, and she doesn't even want to really come out and say he likes you more than he likes me. So she's gonna try and talk around it.
I guess I know where he likes to go around this time of day. A few places we can go look there. She is a little bit like taken aback, as hey, find our god, please. Yep. Doesn't feel like she is capable of it, but she will definitely try. And basically go look.
Yeah, and it's the excellent situation of if you fail, she will blame you and not herself. So
Yeah, fair enough.
So I think this is a role. I think there is some risk here, but I think you're in a controlled position because the risk is mostly her being somewhat disappointed in you.
Okay, So I think what Joan thinks she's doing is that she's just going to like go to the place that the snake frequents, and like head to like a kind of little like rooftop garden first, and then I don't know, some like alley that is pretty but also a dead end. But what she's actually doing is she's just like kind of letting herself be guided. So it will be an Attune roll.
Okay, so I have a question for you. So in the standard setting of Blades in the Dark in Duskwall, the ghost field is like very different to the ghost field here, right? Because the ghost field in Uduwasha is much more calm and much more placid, and suddenly completely devoid of ghosts, which is nice. So how does Joan feel about this difference? Like, what is different in the way that she attunes here because of like a very different way that Uduwasha is to like most other places in the world?
I think attuning when she was a railjack and she worked like on the roofs of these trains that go between the cities, hunting the ghosts that clog the railways. Back then, because the field is so suffused with like the like terror and fury of ghosts, it was something that she was always like pushing away. And when she did have to attune to it, it was like reluctantly letting a defense fall. And I think it's still like that for her here.
Right.
Except that the like overwhelming chaos that she expects doesn't come.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think this is a good time to make this roll. So I think you're in a controlled position and like you can absolutely do this, right? Like you can find His Majesty, so standard effect.
And it's a 5.
Yeah. Okay. So I know exactly what happens, which is that you find him, and I think that you find him. You end up having to like look in 3 or 4 places before you do, and when you do, in fact, you find yourself back in the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is where like Padmamukhi should have looked in the first place, right? And I think what you've basically done is that you have embarrassed her, because when she tried to find him here, he wasn't here. But now when you've turned up, he's here. And so she's like, I beg your pardon? Who the hell do you think you are? Right? And she's just a bit like, you know, I've lived in this temple my entire life and I've devoted my life to it. I know all this stuff. And like, here's this newcomer just turning up thinking that she can, you know, have the run of the place. But the snake is here, and as he sees you, he coils upward, and he says, my children, were you looking for me? With like a little bit of like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, and you know, that's your problem and not mine.
She like Joan kind of like glances awkwardly at Padmamukhi. We had news.
News. What sort of news do you bring to me today, young disciple? And now like turns to look at Padmamukhi, and Padmamukhi says, "O Eternal One, the temple is under threat from forces outside of our control. We seek your guidance." X is like, okay, but I'm not really sure what you want me to do about it. And I think the snake says, I leave it in your capable hands, young disciples. I have no doubt that you are more than able to fend off whatever this new threat is. And then it suddenly cuts off and its head turns to the left. And it says, and in any case, there is a much more pressing matter that I must now devote my energies to. And this much more pressing matter is absolutely some kind of prey deep in the tunnels of Uduasha that it now thinks it's going to like track down to eat, play with, who knows, and leaves you there with a very irate Padmamukhi, but also with the knowledge that like the snake doesn't lie, right? So if it says I have complete confidence in you, it only says this because it does have complete confidence in you.
So I guess we've got this then. Did you have a plan? Or was this your plan?
This was the plan, and I don't appreciate the tone that you are taking with me currently. I don't think that it has the requisite respect for the time and the energy that I have put in. And, well, no wonder this temple is in such a state if these are the state of its disciples. Very well, I suppose we must meet the head priest. And then I think it's at that moment that she realizes it's not even, Zajidan's not the head priest anymore. And she says, I suppose the snakelet will have some ideas. Come.
And she just like wordlessly follows, honestly.
I have a question. Are we in
Yes,
downtime
we
now,
are in,
or are there more scenes?
no,
that
we
are
are in downtime. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think this is a good point to add to downtime, but this is your entanglement, right? Which is that the out of character, you like we know that what has happened is that the hive has basically like funded someone who does not like your temple and has done so in order to make your life tough, because not only did you embarrass them, you also like horrifically hurt one of their like top enforcers. So,
Right. I totally understand. My question is just, do we resolve this entanglement as a scene, or do we resolve it as the next score, so to speak?
I think next score. So obviously we are inviting Begum Bashundhara and everything to the party. In fact, I think we should also invite Morosim to the party so that we can deal with him there as well.
Yeah, let's just invite all our problematic NPCs to our big party and then make a lot of money. This sounds like a flaw with no possibility of flaw or error.
yes, very good.
Absolutely, we know what we're doing.
Why wouldn't we?
So I'd love to see downtime scenes. Especially, I'd love to see everyone's vice.
Yes. So yeah.
Who's up first?
Anyone can go first, of course. We
I have some ideas, but
yeah, I think let's do one downtime for each PC and then do another. The way that it works is
Okay.
that
fair.
for anyone who's unfamiliar with Blades, is that each player character gets 2 free downtime actions, which can be saving some stress, it can be working on a project. There's a few things that you can do, and if you have the money, you can do more, but like you get 2 as per standard. So let's start with the Angel of Death.
Yes. So my second action, I'm just going to flag for this, will involve Joan.
Okay.
I have a scene that I'm bonding with her, but I think it makes more chronological sense to do this action first. So just pinning that I will want to hang out with Joan later.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I think I am going to go indulge my vice and recover some stress. And to do that, I'm going to see Purnima Ghosh of the Weaver Birds. And so we will see Vickers in her roofball uniform with her cap and her like leather corset thing and her angel wings on her back, just leaping from rooftop to rooftop out over the city towards a different district, flying forwards. And then we will see her opponent. And like, this is not actually a match. We just meet sometimes to talk and train because we're worthy opponents of each other.
Nice.
And I think Purnima, who is captain of the Weaver Birds, wears a lot of feathers. She has a collar of feathers. She has like almost a cloak of them. She collects them from various birds around the city. Crows, pigeons, all manner of things. And she is very proud and straight-backed with an Aquilian profile. And we will see Vickers fly up and land, like balancing on top of an old beam sticking out from one of the buildings, and Vickers will just hurl a ball like straight at her as a projectile.
Yeah.
This is how we say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. And Purnima, I think she carries with her a net, which is a very non-standard piece of kit for a roof baller, because if a net gets tangled up while you are up on a roof, it's very easy for that net to then like cause you to like plummet down several stories. But she's very competent with it. We see her use it, in fact, like dodge and then use the net to catch the ball.
Yeah, this is why she's my worthy opponent.
Yes, exactly. And I think she doesn't call you Vickers, right? Like that's the name that like your friends call you. I think she calls you Victoria. I wondered when you would arrive. It's only been, I don't know, 2 hours since I've been out here.
Yes, I'm dreadfully sorry about it, but I'm afraid our next match won't end up happening. I've been challenged by the Northern Lights. Do you know anything about them? Vickers says and then leaps out of the way for the counter-strike that she just knows is coming.
Yeah.
From Purnima.
And she expertly kind of like brings this net and lets go of like one end that she's holding and then grabs it again to give it enough leeway that the ball leaves the net coming straight for you, but the net remains securely in her hands, right? And she says, the Scotland refugees? Tough crowd, but I'm not sure they're exactly the kind of crowd you want to be playing if you want to make it big in the leagues. They have kind of a rough reputation. And I think like in this context, rough doesn't mean physically violent because that's the game. I think rough kind of means like unpolished in their technique, like favoring like raw strength over, like more sophisticated like ways of playing.
So I've gathered. I would like to outmaneuver them if possible, Vickers says, and catches the ball as it bounces back behind her with her foot, kicks it up into the air, and like leaps and heads it towards Purnima again as we continue our conversation.
Yes.
And she says, so I will need to work on my evasion. My team is nowhere near strong enough to take them on in physical combat, but I thought I might try out a few techniques on you if you don't mind terribly. Vickers says, and there's a gleam in her eye of like, I'm challenging you.
Yeah.
I'm so challenging you.
Yeah, I think Purnima like smiles, and you can see that like on the right side of her jaw, there's like one tooth that's been chipped, and it's like an old roofball scar, right? That like the ball hit her so hard in her face that the tooth just broke off in her mouth, right? And she says, "Oh, Victoria, I thought you'd never ask." As she reveals that, like,
and then I think,
no, I was just gonna say, as she reveals that she has not brought just one ball, but like, she's actually standing on what appears to be a pile of balls. She's getting ready to throw all of them at you.
Okay, perfect. So what we're going to see is a montage now of Vickers running a gauntlet, basically, just like assaulted with projectiles, many of which are balls, some of which are not. And this is where I roll my Indulge Vice, I think, as I struggle against Purnima's challenge.
Yeah.
And we'll see if I lose any stress from this, because this is what Vickers lives for. So if there's any way she de-stresses, this is it.
Yeah.
So I roll a 3, clearing 3 stress. I will call that good enough. It's not what I would have preferred, but I think the reason why I don't clear more stress is that it becomes clear to Vickers that, like, I'm in shape to deal with this.
Yep.
But can I get my team to execute these maneuvers? I'm not sure.
Yeah. And I bet, in fact, that, like, once she realizes that you're in shape, she demands that you hamper yourself physically precisely because you're going to have to be covering for other people, right? So she says, okay, do that, but now you're not allowed to use your left hand, or like keep your eyes shut and let's see how well you do, or whatever, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. So yes, I have a showdown against Purnima, and obviously I pass it with flying colors, but I still remain nervous about my team, and that's my scene.
I'm sure Socks would do very well in this exercise. No problems at all. That's why you didn't even bother bringing her. Who's next?
I can go. That's okay with everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got his level 1 harm, and he's not going to go around in polite society trying to actually do things before he treats his medical problem because he's a normal human being. So let's see. I do not know any physicians.
I do, but you might not want to go to mine because he's very traditional.
Yeah, I want an actual doctor.
Hmm.
So we'll see. Yeah, actually, Tree, what happens here? What happens in such a situation?
But
Should I try to
Miraz, I
find?
do know an actual doctor.
Uh-huh. Are you going to take me to your friend?
I was actually thinking that this could work because I was thinking for Abbas's downtime actions, he was going to go to his friend and start try to get his university buddies together to make a newspaper to as part of his I guess being more proactive because that's what the snake wants him to do, right? But he'll do it his way, right? He's not gonna go and actually just start bombing places.
I think when it becomes apparent that the ginger seems to have okay, it's not an infection because that's really serious, but
Yeah.
it's not really doing very much, and I kind of complain, and you're fine. Maybe you're fine, okay, I'll take you to an actual doctor. I need to talk to him anyway.
Her.
So I guess we can frame the scene, or
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So are we showing up at his?
I don't know. Do you want to have a uncle nephew scene as we were walking there or something? Do you know what? I can also indulge my vice because and maybe try to clear some stress with you as my target because my vice is lecturing.
So we're actually. So we want to play out going to the university.
I mean, we could a little bit,
Yeah, it actually helps us also introduce the university a bit.
Yeah.
It's in
All right.
Udaput, right? Same district as we are.
It's close by, yeah. So walking distance, we can just make our way across. And I think, yeah, so.
But wait, is that where we put the university? I don't quite remember.
Yes, the university is is in Udaput.
There's also one in the hand, I believe.
There's one in the hand.
That's the accuracy engineering one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is this is more like this university is it's not specialized, right? It's just you get. I think they probably just have one or two programs, and it's just vaguely philosophy, kind of or natural sciences. It's very broad subjects. Where we said the one in the hand is just this is mining, engineering to get the best of the best. All right, so I guess we are strolling through the winding paths of Udaput making our way. I don't know.
Through the botanical garden, I guess.
Yeah,
it makes sense for that to be attached to. It is attached to the university. You said, right?
I would assume so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And when I get to and that's enough. A buzz goes off. He starts lecturing. It's like, Miraz, all these pills that you bring back from Akaros, right? I don't know why you ever bother because just look, everything, all your pills, you know where they come from. They come from here, right? You put it through your factory and you turn it because you accuracy, right? You can't have anything unless it's in a pill, unless it comes in a bottle. But just get it straight from the trees here, Miraz. I don't know why you have to make such a why you have to be so fussy about everything.
I wish AirPods existed.
And all right, we won't go into too much. Okay, so there's the botanical gardens, and then maybe we will walk by a little bit, and there's the obsidian tower, right? The building of volcanic glass. There's a library, right? And now Abbas is waxing lyrical about in my younger days, I would spend all day in this building, all day. There is not one book in there that I have not read. Every book, I was like, if you ever have any question about anything, just come to me. I can tell you everything that
Tell you what,
there is to know.
This is you indulging your vice, right?
Mhm.
I think you should roll for it, and then I'll see how well Miraz listens or what happens.
All right.
How much satisfaction do you get from lecturing me today?
How does it work mechanically? I just press the indulge vice button and submit. No bonus die or anything for something like this, right?
So here's a question. So normally you get a bonus potentially if someone's helping you, but that's normally meant to be NPCs. I don't know what happens if a PC helps you.
Well, it doesn't matter because I've got a 6. So
excellent.
Incredible.
Yes, I've lectured the living daylights out of you. So much so that in fact you should take stress.
Hold up now, you're not playing the vampire here.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I think I can I say what happens on the overindulgence?
Yeah.
Oh wait, so this was an overindulgence?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an
All right, so that
overindulgence, yeah.
means that you clear more. Just to clarify for people who aren't aware, that means you
Right.
clear more stress than you have, which means that you overindulge in your comfort behavior, and bad things happen.
Yes. So here's the bad thing that happens. So Mira's, he hasn't been feeling that well. The cut's gotten a bit worse. The ginger didn't help. It's not an infection yet, but it might be. He's feverish. He's walking. He's stumbling around. I'm just intentionally making it worse, even though it shouldn't be that
Yeah.
bad. He's kind of stumbling around, and like normally he'd either like engage in some sarcastic repartee with you, or kind of just nod along and pretend to listen. But now he's just kind of like spaced out, right? And as you kind of like lull him into more of a stupor, as feverish, he kind of like, as we entered the university, he kind of like physically bumps into, he physically bumps into this scholar who was carrying this gigantic pile of books in his arms. And like as I bump in, the books scatter all over the place, and I kind of fall down on them. Like I'm not passed out, but like kind of useless. And I think the scholar gets like super mad at us. So I think like at least we take 2 heat. Like
This makes sense.
yeah,
Okay.
we take 2 heat, and then we have to deal with this guy.
All right.
It's probably someone you know, actually.
Yeah, it is. So okay, but I do still clear the stress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
All right. Okay. Good. All right. I'm unstressed.
I'm weakly trying to get up again. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry." And then I kind of like pat this, try to pick up some of the books, and it falls out of my hands.
Mira, what you're doing? Sir, I'm so sorry, sir.
Abbas,
do I recognize
what
this
the
guy?
hell
Like, should
are
I
you
roll
doing?
too?
Can you see where you're walking? Like,
Oh, okay.
Jesus. Okay, no, they don't say Jesus in this country.
No, they say
Snake.
By the snake.
we can say something generic like Yakuda or something like that. You know?
I know.
Stars.
This is a university.
Yeah.
So we haven't encountered the demon princes yet, or the keybearers as we're calling them here. But this is a university, so it would be dedicated to what? Who was it? Kayat?
Yeah, and Kayat is the
Who was the one for knowledge?
wisdom.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have this
Kayat.
guy? Are you gonna have this guy say like Astaghfir Kayat?
Hi Kayat, what are you doing?
Mhm.
So I think like this is also like a temple to Kayat in a certain way, right?
Yes, this makes sense.
Like a temple, the university. No, I feel the university has just been around, right? Like
it's not a
I mean, I think
but
that
it
like
is
the Unkayat house.
Yeah, I think
it's considered equivalent as such.
Yeah.
I think like the Unkayat house is definitely like a big patron here, right? But I think like it is a university. I think people like, and with a lot of the population of Udurasha still worshipping the old gods, like I guess it could be in the sense that like say here the University of like Toronto, like you've got in name, right? It's some saint college, but right, like it's not really a church institution.
Yeah. I think probably
that makes sense. Of course.
Yeah.
I think probably in this case it's also that like as with everything in Uduasha, nothing is really settled. So some people will say yes, it's a temple, and some people will be like, nope, it's as a forgotten god called the knowing and the knowledgeable, and this university is founded by that god or whatever. I think this
the idea of this guy being a Kayat cultist, though. Maybe he's even an Unkayat himself.
Yeah, I think this person
Actually,
is not
it's more than I think it's more than he's like Hayat al-cultist.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Let's make it make him a Kayat cultist, Unkayat cultist, so that Abbas would not actually like him very much, because we haven't had like Abbas meet anyone that he dislikes yet.
Yes, and this is why he's like so unhappy, right? Like if it was like a friend of yours, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Things happen." But this guy is not happy.
All right. What's this guy's name? Like, should I name him? Do I know him?
Yeah, you know him. Absolutely, give him a name.
Oh, I'm thinking he's something on Kayat, but what?
He's like nobility then.
Could be like from a, I don't know. No, they have like sub houses within the
Yeah, and I
houses,
think
right?
like if you're a
No,
I guess we'll.
cultist of the house, you don't necessarily have to be part of the house, right? Like you can believe in a
Right,
god without
okay.
necessarily being related to the house.
All right, let's.
the reason I'm kind of pushing for this is that we haven't encountered the noble houses
okay,
yet,
that's
so I think it's
okay.
nice if he is actually a member of the house.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
In
not
that
like a
case,
high-ranking one, but like
okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's see. Let's call him. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Has anyone got a name? I'm terrible with names.
Yunus.
Yunus.
Yunus. Okay,
Nice,
yeah,
yeah.
Yunus on path. Yeah.
Yeah, so Yunus and Kayat
I think.
picking up
All
these
right.
books and just yelling at you
Yeah.
and saying,
At first, like Abbas is like. Yeah. At first, Abbas is like, "Ah, Miraz, look where you're going," but then he looks up and sees who it is, and he goes, "Oh, Yunus. What the bloody hell are you doing, man? Like, we just you got your book stacked so high you can see where you're going. You're bumping into my nephew like this.
Abbas, what are you doing?
Just because you just carry that name on.
What are you doing back in the university? I thought you
Hmm?
were, I don't know, in your little temple, pretending that your snake knew everything that's worth knowing. Oh, and is this your awful nephew?
With people like you still at this university. With people like you still at this university, you clearly need my expertise.
Uncle, I'm tugging at your sleeve because like I'm not feeling too well. Can we go?
Hmm.
And I'm also ignoring this man.
Weak-blooded, just like your uncle. Hmm? Yes, unsurprising.
You're lucky I have to take my nephew to the doctor today. You know. Otherwise, I could show you where your place. Just because you carry this name on Kayat, you think
Uncle,
you're
please.
so. Yeah.
And I think he's definitely like noticing that you're injured, right? Like, and he's gonna like ask some questions and make up some rumors. It may not even be true, right? But he's just gonna be like, oh, you know, I saw that guy Abbas and his nephew, and oh my god, you wouldn't even believe.
I think like we are going off, and it just kind of devolves into going you bloody you
yeah, absolutely.
as we just walk. You bloody no you bloody
Yeah,
you. Okay.
absolutely.
All right, we're away from.
Hospital wing as well. The medical school.
Huh?
We're also in the medical school, right? I guess like we're approaching.
Oh
where
yeah,
we should be.
yeah.
It's great for the patients.
And so blows out our brief candle. I named the disciples of the Ceaseless Temple thus, with both their false names and true. Soumithri, called Tree as the GM. Zoheb, called Klow as Miraz. Prince as Vickers. Emma as Joan. Aadiyat, called Soap as Abbas. Blades in the Dark and the original inspiration for Udo Asha by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions. Iruvian playbooks by Johnstone Metzger. Jalandhar intro music by Kevin MacLeod. Outro music in Keeravani Ragam by U. Srinivas. Follow us at Desperate Attune on Twitter or email us at desperateattune@gmail.com. Support us at ko-fi.com/desperateattune.